How's it going, everybody? I hope you're well, and welcome back to Music with Michelle, and welcome to my first reaction to the 2015 Lord Huron album, Strange Tales. This is album 2 of 4 from the Lord Huron discography. I recently reacted to their first album, Lonesome Dreams, which you can find on this channel. I'll leave a link to it in the description. I'm really looking forward to this album. I've heard some really good things about it. Before we do get into it, I will be doing a tier list as well throughout this video, but I'll explain that more when we get to it. Before we do get into the video, I just wanted to let you know about my music apparel shop. I've just added some new Lord Huron inspired designs to the store, and you can check it out by heading to fmmerch.co.uk, or you can check out the link in the description. We stock men's, women's and kids sizes, and we ship worldwide. So if you are interested in Lord Huron and music inspired merch, please feel free to head to fmmerch.co.uk or check out the link in the description below. And let's not waste any more time, let's get straight into it with song number 1. So yeah, if you do want to see my reaction to the first album, it is on my channel, but I will say that there were so many good songs in there. So I'm really hoping that, from what I've heard, this one is just as good, if not better, but I'm really hoping that it's a bit similar to the last one. So yeah, let's get into the first song, which is called Love Like Ghosts.
Yes, I know that love is like ghosts. Oh, if you have seen it, but everybody talks. Spirits follow everywhere I go. Oh, they sing all day and they haunt me in the night. Oh.
This is really interesting already, because the two songs I've heard from this album are Meet Me in the Woods and The Night We Met. And this song already just feels like the melody of Meet Me in the Woods and then the actual guitar part of Night We Met, which is very interesting.
Sing all day and they haunt me in the night. Yes, I know that love is like ghosts. Oh, I sing all day and I love you through the night. There ain't language for the things I feel. I don't feel it till it hurts sometimes. Oh, go on, baby, hurt me tonight. Oh, I sing all day and I love you through the night.
Okay, so that's the first song, Love Like Ghosts. But before we do get into that song, I just wanted to run through the tier list I mentioned earlier. I like to do these in my videos because it gives like a good visual representation of how I really feel about a song just after listening to it. And I'm sure you guys know how a tier list works, but in case you don't, pretty much the lower the tier is the less I like the song. So as you can see at the bottom there, we have miss. If any songs go into this category, it means that I just flat out don't think it's a good song. One above that is not for me. You know, sometimes a song is good, but it's just not really for you. You can't see yourself listening to it outside the album. Middle tier is re-listen. Sometimes when you listen to a song for the first time, you have to give it a few listens to really understand if it clicks with you or not. The tier above that is called straight to my playlist. This is for when I really like a song and I want to listen to it again straight away. I want to put it into my everyday listening playlist. And then the very top one is called What Do It Mean? So I use this top tier to show basically if I think that a song is one of the best songs from the band or the artist. So I've called it What Do It Mean because that is one of my favorite Lord Huron songs. It was very hard to pick a favorite song from Lord Huron because I've got so many good ones, but I picked What Do It Mean. So if any songs do go into that tier, it pretty much means that I think it's one of the band's best songs. So hopefully we have a few of those in this video. Okay, so starting off with Love Like Ghosts. Yeah, as I said, it kind of threw me off a little bit because it was the melody of Meet Me in the Woods and some of the lyrics as well were the same, but it had the guitar part of The Night We Met, which is a very interesting concept. I've never really seen it being done before, where they've kind of mashed two of the songs on the album and just put them into one. It'd be interesting to know whether this one was made like as one of the last songs on the album, because it's almost as if they knew that like two of the most popular songs on here was going to be Meet Me in the Woods and The Night We Met, and that was almost like a little teaser for the both of them because it's the very first song. So that was really interesting. I actually really did enjoy it, although it did throw me off a little bit because I am so used to hearing both of those other songs. I've heard them so many times over the years, so it was a bit weird to hear because yeah, I'm so used to just hearing the two songs on their own. But yeah, I think it's a great way to start an album because it definitely sets up the tone for the rest of the record, and it just has all those elements that we've kind of grown to love from Lord Huron. You know, just that ethereal music, that sort of dreamlike music that they kind of convey during these songs, and I absolutely love the instrumentation. We'll get into talking about that more during the video, but if you saw my last video for Lonesome Dreams reaction, yeah, I've mentioned all this stuff before about the way they play the music, the type of music they make, whatever you want to call it, if it's indie folk, whatever. I think they're such a unique band and they've got such a unique sound, and I absolutely love it. So, and that's why I was so excited to get into this record, because it's just going to be more of a continuation of what we saw on Lonesome Dreams, but probably dialed up a notch as well. Yeah, great way to start. Love Like Ghosts. I'm going to put it straight to my playlist. You can't go wrong with pretty much combining two songs that you already love. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's one of their better ones, but still great song, great way to start an album. Now let's move on to number two. Number two is Until the Night Turns.
I had a vision at night that the world was ending. Yeah, the sky was falling, time was bending. What if the world dies with the sun dies? Maybe it's alright to be up all night. What if the river up made when the stars fade? Keep me going till the night turns into the day. We wait for the sunrise. When the world ending comes, baby, don't close your eyes. We wait for the sunrise. Met her last night in the moonlight. If the right made when the stars fade, keep me going till the night turns into the day. Yeah, we going till the night turns into the day.
Yeah, that was number two, Until the Night Turns. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm the biggest fan of that one from just the first listen. I really like that strumming pattern at the start and that intro guitar part there. I thought that was really, really cool. One thing I did notice from my last album reaction is that, so after I did the recording, I listened to it a few more times during the week or whatever. A lot of the songs which I was a bit sort of, unsure on, they got a lot better the more I listened to them. So I feel like this song could definitely be one like that. There's some great elements in it, and pretty much every element of it I like in a Lord Huron song. Admittedly, I do like their slower stuff more, but their faster paced stuff is still very, very good. I think for now, I'm probably, just off my initial impression, I think I'm going to put it into the re-listen category. Because yeah, I feel like that's one of those songs that is definitely a grower. It didn't really interest me that much the first time I listened to it. So let's move on to number three, which is called Dead Man's Hand.
Yellow lines in the dead of the night. Oh, I was heading back out west. Saw him lying in the road looking bad, about 20 yards ahead. Just a kid with his hair slicked back and a knife tucked into his belt. Laid him down in a grave in the sand, and he grabbed my arm with his dead man's hand. I stared right into the endless void, and I ain't going back if I got any choice. So lift me up out of here, my friend, and I'll wander the night till the ages end.
Okay, so I definitely feel like that song there is going to be another case of the more I listen to it, the more I like it. When it first started, it wasn't really grabbing me, didn't find it too interesting. It wasn't until it got to sort of the middle part of the song when this really nice guitar melody came in that I really started to get into it. And yeah, I think the second half, the middle and the second half of the song is much stronger than the first. So I think it's definitely a case of the more I listen to it, the more I like it. Because even on first listen, the more it went on, the more I actually enjoyed listening to it and was taking it all in. So yeah, I think this one suffers from the previous song as well, whereas like the more I listen to it, I think the more I will appreciate it. And yeah, I just think it was the first part that kind of threw me off a little bit. So I think for that reason, I'll probably put Dead Man's Hand. I think for now I'll probably put it into re-listen, because I think I will give it a couple more goes and then I will start to really, really like it. Yeah, I'll have to give that first part a listen again to see if I like it now. I know the rest of the song is a bit different to what that was like at the start. But yeah, so far quite an interesting start. Just one song that I'll put straight into my playlist, two into re-listen. But this is following a similar trend to Lonesome Dreams. I felt like it didn't start off the best, but I think as it went on, it got better and better. So I have a feeling that this album might be the same. So yeah, let's move on to number 4, which is called Hurricane, Johnny's Theme.
I get a thrill out of playing with fire, 'cause you hold your life when you hold that flame. Oh, now. I drive fast and I rumble the hardest. I don't feel alive if I ain't with fire. Don't you look charming here in the eye of a hurricane? Oh, little darling, don't you like falling down to the sky like a diving plane? I'm coming right on back for you. Real or imagine, what does it matter? Come inside, can I get you to stay?
Yeah, that one I really enjoyed. Lovely guitar part, fantastic tempo kept up throughout. And I think I heard in there as well a great double bass. That's one thing I really loved about the previous album, was the instrumentation they used, the different elements they took from sort of different time periods of music. And if you watch Lord Huron live, especially their stripped back parts, you know, they utilize a lot of more older instruments like the double bass. And I think doing so just creates like a really vivid picture in your brain of like, you know, a scenario where this song would be playing, or it just creates this story in your head. But for me, I'm kind of picturing like really old Western America. But yeah, I really love when that double bass kicked in. I think it's such a great instrument and it adds such a full sound. Although this one was quite short, I really did enjoy this one actually. I spoke a lot in the previous video about the lore and the Lord Huron lore. I don't know too much about it, but I'm hoping that after I've gone through these albums, I can kind of start piecing things together. Now I can look into it and it will make a lot more sense after actually going through the entire discography. But yeah, I think the storytelling is fantastic in these songs, and I will put Hurricane, I'll put it straight into my playlist. Really enjoyed that one. Now let's move on to number 5. Number 5 is La Belle Fleur Sauvage. Is this song going to be in French? That's the question.
What you're looking for won't be found easily. Beyond the clouds in ancient ground, so they say. Once he's gazed upon her, a man is forever changed. Her colors change among the passing of the day. I'd give it all to love that girl.
Absolutely love these types of Lord Huron songs. It's so nice to listen to.
I'd give it all to love that girl.
Yeah, I have to say, I think those types of Lord Huron songs, I think are definitely my favorite. From what I've seen so far, most of their music does sort of fall into this sort of category, the more chill stuff, the more melancholic stuff. But the music's just so addictive and it's such a joy to listen to. You know, Ben, his voice is just absolutely incredible and it's really showcased really well on this song. Yeah, the instrumentation is just so good. The guitar parts are just incredible. And yeah, it's just like the production just kind of blows my mind a little bit because there's so many different elements of music going on and it's kind of hard to take it all in when you're listening to it for the first time. But it's going to be one of those songs I imagine that the more I listen to it, I kind of notice different instruments here and there. I love the way they did it with a build up and they just slowly introduced more and more instruments and it all works, it all flowed brilliantly. Yeah, just conceiving a song like this just completely blows my mind because I can't imagine the process of doing it. Yeah, it's such a joy to listen to and I absolutely love this one. I think it's probably easily the favorite I've heard on this album so far. Absolute beautiful piece of music. Also, I think it might be the longest one on this album as well, but it absolutely flew by. For me, that's a sign of a really good song, is if it's quite long, but you just don't realize that it's taken up nearly 6 minutes. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. I don't know if I'll put it into the top tier for now. I think I'll put it straight to my playlist, but I think that's definitely one that could definitely move into the top tier. Okay, let's see where we go from here. Let's move on to number 6, which is called Fall for Love. It's going to take a lot to top the last one, I think, but knowing Lord Huron, they definitely can top it. Good start so far.
I'm leaving this place behind and I'm heading out on the road tonight. Before I commence my ride, I'm asking Lily to be my bride. I know she's gonna be my wife, gonna fall in love, I'm gonna live my life with her. I see how you got your name, you're tall as hell and broad as a train. I'm humming like a revved up truck, never mind the odds, I'm gonna try my luck. I'll send you on to an early day. I lie in the drifting snow, bleeding out as it covers me up. I know I shouldn't have looked back, but you ain't gonna win a woman's heart like that.
Hey, that was number 6, Fall for Love. Definitely a more upbeat one, especially in terms of the actual music itself. I think I will admit, I think I do like the darker Lord Huron stuff, and I don't mean in terms of the lyricism, I just mean in terms of the actual music itself. I much prefer a darker feel or a more sort of ethereal feel to the music. And although I think this song had some really great elements to it, and I do like the more upbeat nature, I think in terms of what I look for in a Lord Huron song anyway, it doesn't really tick many of the boxes, if I'm being honest. I'm not great at listening to lyrics first time and understanding them fully. Kind of concentrate more on the actual music than the actual lyricism in a song when I first listened to it. So just from a music standpoint, it didn't really grab me as much as I thought maybe it would. I did like the start, but it didn't really go anywhere that I was really sort of into at that point. But I am hesitant to not put it in not for me, because I feel like it definitely could be a song that I do enjoy. But would I say I enjoy it right now? I don't think so. So I think for now, I think I'm going to put it into re-listen, and yeah, I'll give it a couple more goes. But yeah, first impression just didn't really grab me as much as a couple of the other ones on here. So let's move on to number 7, which is The World Ender. It's a nice chord progression.
From the dead. Oh, I'm the world and the baby, and I'm coming for them. Oh, they put me in the ground, but I'm back from the dead. You hear me howl by the light of the moon. When the world end comes, baby, run for your life. I tear through the night and I'll race up hell, 'cause I'm the world and the baby, and I'm back from the dead.
I think that one has to be my favorite on the album so far. When I talk about the kind of Lord Huron songs I like the slower ones, and I like ones like that. Just so good. It started with that single chord being played, and it just hit out of nowhere. It kept up that tempo throughout. I thought Ben's voice was actually really cool on this. I don't know if they put some different effects in it or whatever, but he sounded really good. I love the bass riff in the background. The bass riff was really quite unique. I really like that one. I love the chord progression, the melody. There's an unreal sort of like guitar solo as well in the middle. But yeah, that's a very addictive song. I really like that one. It kind of reminded me of Secret of Life from the next album, where the bass is almost like the prominent part of the song. And although this one is a bit drowned out, I still located that one straight away. Big fan of this one. I think this is probably my favorite so far, I would say. And yeah, so from what I just said about how it reminds me of Secret of Life, I think just on that basis, I think I will put it, I think I'm going to put it at the top. I'm going to put it right at the top. Yeah, that was addictive. It was a joy to listen to. It flew by. And yeah, I think just off my first impression, I think that is one of my personal favorites from Lord Huron. I think as well, what I love is the names of the song. They have such great song names in their album. I'm a big fan of like just really sort of hard hitting names, and the world ender, that's just like powerful, you know. Once again, the storytelling as well in the song was unbelievable. And yeah, the next song is Meet Me in the Woods, which I have heard a million times already, so I'm not going to bother reacting to it. I won't spend too much time on it either, because I think we all know how good the song is, and I'll just cut straight to the chase and say that yeah, it's one of my favorites on the album. One of two songs from this album that I have already heard. Instantly fell in love with it when I listened to it, and it's been on repeat for years ever since. Yeah, I don't think we need to talk too much about that one. I think we all know how good Meet Me in the Woods is. So yeah, let's go straight on to number 9, which is called The Yawning Grave.
I know the rain like the clouds know the sky. I speak to birds and tell them where to fly.
This one's beautiful so far.
I sing the songs that you hear on the breeze. Though you fool, there are rules, I am coming for you. I tried to warn you when you were a child. I sent you omens and all kinds of signs. Though you feel there are rules, I am coming for you. Darkness brings evil things, all the wicked and wicked. You will learn in your
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely up there with one of the nicest Lord Huron songs I've ever heard. Going back to that sort of ethereal, melancholic, just angelic almost sound that some of these songs have. You know, I spoke about it before, how this is my favorite type of Lord Huron song, where it kind of just takes you somewhere, you kind of float with it. All you can really do is like shut your eyes and just ride it out. Like, it's such a beautiful piece of music. And I think that's what I love most about Lord Huron as a band, is their capability to make songs like The World Ender, which is a completely different side of the spectrum to The Yawning Graves, but they both just work so well, and they both fit on the album so well at the same time. You know, once again, the production, just the conception of making a song like this absolutely blows my mind. Absolutely beautiful. One of the best songs I've heard from Lord Huron, hands down. Going straight into the top tier. I would honestly not be too upset if we had like a whole record from Lord Huron which was just that type of music, and I imagine live as well, that song would just be unbelievable. Okay, now we've got the last few songs on the album. As you can see from the tier list, it's all pretty even for the first 3 tiers. What I can say already is that there hasn't been a song on here that I haven't liked, and I doubt over the next 4 songs we are going to find one that I don't like. So yeah, let's get on to the next song, which is number 10, Frozen Pines. Again with the bass, sounds so good.
Deep into the night, with the moonlight as my guide, and I look up to the sky, but I wonder where you are. I call your name into the dark, all alone on a mountainside and huddled in the wind.
Another beautiful song there. This one actually had a bit more of a rocky element to it, which I actually really like, but in a very subtle way. It wasn't too out there rocky, but it's definitely one of the more rocky ones on this album. Yeah, some very juxtaposing emotions there, because that type of music kind of made me quite happy, evoked quite a lot of positive emotions, but the actual lyricism itself was a bit more sad, a bit more depressing. But again, the storytelling elements to this album carry on. You know, it's been a common theme now throughout most of the Lord Huron stuff I've listened to. Is, yeah, it just paints a picture in your head, which is such a hard thing to do, but they do it so effortlessly. Like, most songs on here have painted quite a vivid image in my head. This one's no different. A really beautiful song. Great storytelling, great lyricism, instrumentation was great. I love the guitar work on here, the bass as well. The bass was fantastic. Yeah, I just can't get over how good Ben's voice is as well. Like, it's such a fantastic voice. Even live as well, the live performances I've seen of him, he maintains that sort of same vocal range, which is just really impressive. Yeah, Frozen Pines, I don't think it had as much of an impact as the Yawning Graves, but it's gonna go straight into my playlist. And again, it's another one of those songs I feel like could definitely push into that top tier the more I listen to it. But I gotta say, so far I'm really enjoying this second half of the album. A bit like Lonesome Dreams, actually. I'm really enjoying the latter part of the album, probably more than the first part, but I think it just goes to show how good this album is because the first part was still great as well, but the second part is just really blowing me away. And yeah, let's see what the next song has in store for us. It is called Cursed.
What I remember the most, oh, I wanna know what I did, I wanna know her again.
That's a really cool rhythm.
Lots of booze in her case, but who knew love would be like this? 'Cause I don't know how to walk out of this deal. Spell she cast on me is real. Don't know how to take my whole life back. Everything she touches turns to black. Gotta clear my name. Yeah, I wanna get her alone. What kind of magic is this? I was doomed by our first kiss, and she made me do worse. I was gone, I guess. Well, who knew love was gonna be like this? Guess on me is real. Don't know how to right the wrongs I've done.
Yeah, that was number 11, Cursed, another more upbeat song. But yeah, again, big fan of that one. I love the rhythm, especially the sort of second part of the, I think it's like the second verse where it really kicked in. That rhythm was really, really quite unique. Definitely got my leg tapping. But yeah, I wouldn't say it was the most sort of out there Lord Huron song I've ever heard. But I think in context of the album, I think it's like a culmination of all the different types of music we've heard. It kind of sounded something more akin to like Meet Me in the Woods, following that kind of similar formula, but this one really worked. I really liked it. I won't spend too much time on this. I feel like this video might be quite long at this point, so yeah, I'm just gonna get straight to the point. Cursed, really liked it. Straight into my playlist. Great song. Let's move on to number 12. At number 12 we have Way Out There.
I'm a long way from the land that I left. I've been running through life and cruising toward death. I belong bodily to the end. I'm just swearing on
That was way out there, number 12. And I feel like at this point of the album, I'm kind of just going to be repeating myself about, you know, how good this music is and, you know, all the different elements of it. Yeah, just another really beautiful song. That guitar part from the intro that played throughout was just absolutely beautiful. And yeah, I just feel like I'm just going to be repeating myself really for a lot of it. So it's better just to sort of cut to the chase and just say, yeah, another song that I really enjoyed. Do I think it's their best? No, but I really like it. And yeah, I feel like the second half of the album has just been unbelievable. I'm pretty sure like the last however many 5 or 6 songs I think have all been like unreal. So yeah, second half of the album's been great. And we now have 2 songs left, first of which is called Louisa. So let's get into number 13.
Good for nothing is the name they'll remember me by. Done nothing with my life for no one, I'm just living to die. I'll give you what you wanna have, I'll take you where you wanna go. I'm the only man you'll ever need, girl, and now you know. I feel alive when I'm with you, baby. So to me that I won't ever be lonely. I'm feeling alive when I'm with you, baby. So to me that I won't ever be lonely.
Okay, that was number 13, Louisa, and that will be the last song that I react to, as the next song is The Night We Met, which I've heard a million times. So yeah, Louisa, a bit more upbeat than the ones we've had over the last sort of 5 or 6 songs. But again, though, lovely storytelling, some great lyricism in there. Ben's voice sounds great, hitting some fantastic high notes. But I would say I put this one in more like the Fall for Love category, where, yeah, it wasn't my favorite type of Lord Huron song, but again, it doesn't mean it's a bad song. It's just, yeah, in terms of what I like on this album, it kind of falls into and relates more to the ones that I wasn't the biggest fan of and I need to re-listen to again. And so yeah, I think Louisa definitely fits that category, so I think I will put it into re-listen, because yeah, I just think that maybe it's because it's the 13th song on the album and I've been recording now for around 2 hours, so yeah, maybe it's just because of that reason. But yeah, I just think it's one of those ones that I just need to listen to a couple more times, but still really cool song. Some great instrumentation once again, lovely melody in the hook as well. Yeah, I'm going to put that in that category for now. And that leaves one song left, which is The Night We Met. Once again, I'm not going to be reacting to it because I have heard it 1,000,001 times, and I also don't think I need to say too much about it, because yeah, I think it is one of the most beautiful songs of all time. I think it's one of the best love songs of all time. I think it's one of the saddest songs of all time, and it's up there as one of my favorite songs of all time. Now, I am ashamed to admit that I did learn about this song through the TV show 13 Reasons Why, which I think quite a lot of other people did as well. But it's just unbelievable to look at Spotify and see that it has nearly 1.4 billion streams. That's just absolutely crazy. And I think definitely 13 Reasons Why helped, but I've also seen it on social media for years now. You know, it's one of those songs that a lot of people use, but I think it is universally recognized as one of the greatest songs of the last 10 years, you'd say. Yeah, one of the best love songs, one of the saddest songs. But yeah, I gotta say, it is one of my favorite songs of all time. And it is a real shame that the sort of disparity between the streams on that song compared to the rest, because even a song like Meet Me in the Woods, which I think is the second most popular from what I just saw, you know, to only have 60 something million streams compared to the 1.4 billion of this song. Yeah, it's just a shame that it looks like a lot of people kind of listen to this song and this song only and not the whole project. But also, I'm only listening to it for the first time now, so I can't really say too much. But yeah, it's a shame that this one is Lord Huron's most popular song by far, because yeah, I've got 1 album to go now, but so far the 3 albums I've listened to have just been full of so many incredible songs. But yeah, I think The Night We Met has to be up there with one of the best, and for that reason it's going to go into the top tier. That was one that I was contemplating calling the top tier over, but I wanted to show some love to Long Lost, which is one of my favorite albums of all time, so I chose What Do It Mean. But yeah, The Night We Met goes to the top tier because I think it is one of the best songs of all time. And with that out of the way, that is the final standing of the tier list. As you can see, as expected, there was no songs in the miss or not for me category, 4 songs in the re-listen. Now, these songs I did enjoy, but I think I need to listen to them a few more times. But I think it definitely aligns with what I was talking about in terms of what I like from a Lord Huron song, because these 4 songs are quite similar to each other, follow a similar pattern, a similar tempo. But yeah, I will give these a lot of re-listen. And one of my sort of criteria for buying vinyl is that I have to like more than half the album. as you can see, I do like more than half the album. So another thing that I say about re-listen is like, if I was listening to the album in the entire context of it front to back, would I skip over these 4 songs? No, they're still great songs. Just would I listen to them on a daily basis? Probably not. As you can see, we have 6 songs in the straight into my playlist category. I think 2 or 3 of these songs can definitely push up a tier and become some of my favorite from Lord Huron, but for now I'm just going to put them in that category because my instant reaction is that I really like them, but they didn't quite hit that upper echelon of the rest of the songs. And speaking of, we have 4 songs in the top tier, which is a very rare thing to do. I mean, I've heard a lot about this album and how much people like it, and I think this definitely reaffirms that, because yeah, 4 of the 14 songs in the album did make it into the top tier for me, which means that I thought that at least 4 songs on here are some of Lord Huron's best work. Yeah, that's my tier list. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Do you agree with some of these? Do you disagree? Should some songs be higher? Should some songs be lower? Let me know. But yeah, that was my first reaction to Strange Tales by Lord Huron. Heard a lot about this album going into it, so I had quite high expectations, and I have to say those expectations were exceeded. I don't think there's many artists out there that can paint a picture in your mind as vividly as Lord Huron using their music, and I think that's why there is this whole lore behind it, is because the storytelling is so incredible, and you can tell there is a purpose to the album from start to finish. It's a journey, which is very similar to Lonesome Dreams. You know, it felt like a film. It was like a film in music format, and this just feels like a continuation of that. Like they took what they'd done well with Lonesome Dreams and just made it and just went with it even further. Love the style of music they went for in this one as well. I'd say it was a bit more sort of folky compared to Lonesome Dreams, but I really love the sort of different tones they use, especially on the guitar and the bass as well. The use of the double bass was fantastic, and the fact that the bass was the crux of the melody for a lot of these songs I really enjoyed. Ben's voice was unbelievable as expected, but that's just something we're used to by now. And yeah, the production quality is unbelievable. I feel like it took a step up from the last one, which you kind of would expect because it is their second album. But yeah, I can really understand why this one was so popular and so many people liked it. Just a really solid album from start to finish, and I recognize quite a few of these song names from watching live shows. I always skip over them because I haven't heard them, but I recognize a few of them, so it's cool to see that almost 10 years later or 8 years later, a lot of these songs are still being performed to this day, which goes to show the longevity of these songs, and people are still enjoying them, and the band are still enjoying playing them, which is really great. And yeah, a lot of these songs as well, you know, just translate so well to a live stage. And I think I said in the last album review as well that I'm not the biggest fan of like acoustic sets. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I make exceptions for bands like Lord Huron, where their songs can just translate so easy to an acoustic setting, more stripped back version. Like they've managed to make these really complex songs that you can also twist into a really simplistic song. I think that's largely due to a lot of the melodies being used. But yeah, amazing storytelling, and it adds more to the lore, which hopefully I can dig into after I react to their next album. And that next album is Vide Noir, which I will be reacted to on this channel very soon. It will be the video after this one. I've not heard as much about that album as I have Strange Tales, so it'll be very interesting going into that one. But now I have Lonesome Dreams and Strange Tales under my belt. I'm going to go into Vide Noir with a very open mind, seeing where it's going to go. And once that's done, I will be caught up entirely with the Lord Huron discography, as I have listened to Long Lost, which you can see behind me, which I said it is probably my favorite album of all time. So yeah, it's a bittersweet moment. The next album is going to be the last. I'm all caught up, but hopefully it's not going to be too long until we hear from Lord Huron again. It's been about 2 years since Long Lost came out, so we might be having some new music on the way, who knows. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought of the album. What's your favorite song, and are you still listening to this album nearly 8 years later? And yeah, if you want to see my first reaction to Vide Noir, then please feel free to subscribe, and my first reaction to Lonesome Dreams is already on the channel, which I'll leave a link to in the description. Thank you very much for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a nice day.